All right, let's paint a picture. Imagine it's the absolute hottest day of the year. You know the kind. The air is thick, the sun is just beating down, and your house is supposed to be your one cool escape. But then, you notice it. The air from the vents just isn't cold anymore, and that familiar hum from the AC unit outside, it's gone silent. Suddenly you've got a massive problem, and it is getting hotter by the second.
Look, this isn't just some minor inconvenience. It's a full-blown emergency. It's that sinking feeling in your stomach when you realize your home's most important appliance just decided to quit at the worst possible time. And this battle, it plays out in homes all over, every single day. But here's the thing. It's not just bad luck. There's a hidden enemy waging a quiet, relentless war on your home. And that enemy? It's your local climate.
So to really understand this fight, we're going to go straight to the front lines. Our ground zero for this explainer is Central Florida, where the battle between climate and machine is about as intense as it gets.
We're going to zoom in on a specific community called Horizon West. Now, this place is a perfect case study, really. It's got modern homes and an absolutely extreme climate, which creates this perfect storm, a pressure cooker environment for HVAC systems. What's happening here is basically a supercharged version of what could be happening to your home no matter where you live. First off, let's just talk about the conditions. We're talking about brutal, 90-degree heat. And this isn't just for a few weeks in the middle of summer. No, this is the baseline reality for most of the year. Now, on top of that relentless heat, you've got to add this heavy, smothering blanket of 80% humidity. Your AC isn't just fighting the temperature. It is constantly trying to wring gallons and gallons of moisture out of the air every single day. And here is the real knockout punch. This isn't some short summer sprint. We're talking about your air conditioner running a full-on marathon for 8, 9, even 10 months a year. That constant, grinding workload is what just wears these systems down way, way faster than in any milder climate.
So, okay, we get it. The conditions are extreme. But what are these specific weapons that the climate is actually using in this assault? Let's break down the enemy's arsenal.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how all these things work together, like a team. The humid subtropical climate, that's the main attacker, right? It's applying constant pressure. But then you've got stuff like sandy soil and high water tables, which means when those heavy summer storms hit, the outdoor units can literally flood, shorting out electrical components. And those beautiful tile roofs and stucco walls so popular there, well, they act like giant heat absorbers, trapping it in the attic and forcing the AC to work even harder. And to top it all off, you've got this corrosive salt air blowing in from all the local lakes, which just slowly eats away at the metal coils. It's a true multi-front war.
So how on earth do you fight back against an enemy this complex? Well, you don't guess. You use science. A true pro uses something called a load calculation, or more specifically, a manual J. It's basically an engineering method that looks at everything about your house, your windows, your insulation, even which way your house faces the sun, and it crunches all that against the local climate data. This tells you the exact size system you need. Because if it's too small, it'll run itself to death. But if it's too big, it won't pull that sticky humidity out of the air. Getting this right is probably the single most important first step to winning this war.
But what happens when the system starts to lose that fight? Let's take a look at the common battle damage, the signs homeowners see when their system is buckling under the climate's assault.
Okay, here are two classic failures. Over on the left, you've got frozen evaporator coils. This can happen if the refrigerant is low, or, and this is a huge problem in new developments, when the filters get clogged with all that construction dust. Then on the right, you've got clogged condensate drains. Remember all that humidity we talked about? Well, your AC pulls it out of the air as water, and in a climate like this, algae and mold just grow like crazy in those drain lines. They can create a blockage, and then all that water backs up and starts damaging your ceilings and walls. But the truly catastrophic failure, the one that can cost you thousands, that often comes from electrical damage. You know those daily afternoon thunderstorms that Central Florida is famous for? They can cause power surges and put a ton of stress on the electrical grid. These fluctuations can completely fry the delicate electronics in your system and destroy the compressor, which is basically the heart of the whole unit. We're not talking about a simple fix here. This is a multi-thousand-dollar failure that often pushes a system right past the point of no return.
So when you're facing one of these major repairs, you have a huge decision to make. Do you repair the old, wounded system, or do you just replace it entirely? It's a tough call for sure, but there's a surprisingly simple formula that can help you decide.
It's called the $5,000 rule, and it is incredibly straightforward. First, you take the estimated cost of the repair. Then, you multiply that number by the age of your system in years. Now, if that final number is more than $5,000, replacement is probably the smarter financial move. But if it's less than $5,000, a repair likely makes more sense. It's just simple math that helps you avoid throwing good money after bad on a system that's already on its last legs.
Let's look at a perfect real-world example. A $600 repair. That seems pretty manageable, right? But wait. If your system is 12 years old, you multiply 600 by 12, and you get $7,200. According to the rule, that is well into replacement territory. In a really demanding climate like Florida's, where systems often only last 12 to 17 years anyway, this rule is an absolutely invaluable guide.
So, here's the crucial takeaway from all of this. Understanding the unique environmental challenges that your home faces is the key, not just to maintaining your system, but to hiring the right person to fix it when it breaks. You've got to know your enemy to know your pro.
A true professional, they fight back with knowledge. They're going to start with that critical manual J load calculation, no guesswork. They know the Florida building codes inside and out, so everything's done right. They're EPA certified, which means they handle refrigerants safely and legally. And just as important, they actually understand the specific microclimates in your area, and they give you upfront pricing so there are no nasty surprises. They're equipped to give you a permanent solution, not just a temporary patch.
So as we wrap this up, I'm going to leave you with this question. We've used Central Florida as our case study today, but every single climate has its own secret weapons. Is it the dry, dusty air of the Southwest? The corrosive salt spray on the coast? Maybe the freeze and thaw cycles up north? Taking a minute to understand that hidden enemy, well, that's the first step to winning the battle for your home.